Hello and welcome to Keller and Keller Cooking. To start this channel, I want to introduce myself and give some backstory on where I've been in regards to cooking and where I am right now, before I start this year of culinary challenges. My cooking journey first began when I was 21 years old and newly married. I didn't really like food at this point. I had no real interest in cooking prior to this, and I didn't know how to make anything. I only knew how to preheat an oven or boil water to warm up already prepared box food. In 21 years, I never touched raw meat. I didn't even know how to crack an egg. When I was 19, I had a non genetic freak cancer incident. In an abundance of caution, I knew when we had children, I wanted to be able to give them the best start and have a nutrition rich diet just in case that was part of what caused my own health issues. Going from this bottom with no one to teach me to this really big goal was going to take a lot of steps, and I was pretty lost at where to start. My first year being married saw me making the most simple things. My husband taught me how to make eggs, how to brown ground beef, and we ate a lot of sandwiches. At this time, Hamburger Helper was real cooking to me, a first big step in learning how to put things together, touching raw meat, and following directions. Even this easy meal, I was so nervous every step of the way. Almost nothing I made came out the way it was supposed to, but I didn't really know how to improve, and this diet was almost as far away from my goal as you can get while still being in the kitchen. After a year of struggling to learn how to cook, my husband brought home a Robert Irvine cookbook that he found in a local grocery store bin. I occasionally watch Robert Irvine on Food Network, so he thought that I might enjoy trying some of his recipes. That ended up being a huge turning point in our lives, and it changed my entire view on cooking. These recipes were for actual meals that made me feel like I could really cook. I could make meals that featured no box food help, and they could turn out tasting good. Previous to this, I had such little confidence that I could ever learn how to cook well. With this recipe book, I now knew I could do it. I just needed to know how. I started watching all of the cooking shows that were on TV. Worst Cook in America, MasterChef, Hell's Kitchen, The F Word, anything that showed techniques and cooking skills and how-tos. I especially watched every Gordon Ramsay show faithfully, as MasterChef helped my understanding on so many food matters and showed me new things like knife skills. Until this time, I was using pots and knives that were from Goodwill and cast-offs from family members. I never heard of sharpening knives and knowing what made a good pan. For Christmas, my husband got me a full set of good pots and pans, plus a large set of decent knives, and I was so thrilled. This was another big game changer. Instantly, for the first time ever, I didn't burn pancakes that I made for Christmas morning. I cried. My knife skills became a little better just by trading decade-old dull knives for ones that were actually sharp. My confidence grew. Gordon Ramsay led me to masterclass,
I'm Gordon Ramsay, and this is my masterclass.
which I felt ready for now, armed with new kitchen gear. Masterclass let me explore more Gordon Ramsay in detail with 2 classes, and then I started Wolfgang Puck,
I'm Wolfgang Puck, and this is my masterclass.
where I learned how to make mother sauces and had better knife skills and how to tackle a larger range of home cooking. And then I found the first Thomas Keller masterclass, and everything changed.
I'm Thomas Keller, and this is my masterclass.
Thomas Keller classes took a student through the very basics, starting with 6 different ways to make eggs and moved them all the way through to some of his top restaurant recipes. Not only that, he didn't want to just teach recipes, he wanted to train your taste buds and give you an understanding of food so that you would know how to make your own recipes and understand the balance between flavors. Starting every lesson was tackling a new challenge that I couldn't wait to try. Almost every question I had, usually spoken out loud to my husband, was answered in Thomas Keller's next sentence before I even fully had it verbalized. His way of cooking and teaching was the most understandable for me, even while being so far elevated beyond anything I knew at that point. It made me aspire to not just be a good home cook, but to be able to serve my family fine dining quality level food with finesse. It was suddenly more than just cooking and nutrition. It was now presentation and plating. As someone who is very artistic minded, it bridged the gap between my two passions, and I learned that cooking could be an art form too, where I could apply my talents. Every dish became a challenge to see just how amazing I could make it taste and look. Good was no longer enough. Now I wanted excellent. My new goal was to chase an impossible perfection, which, through the time of reading and watching Thomas Keller, I believe that he has the same goal. I now wanted to learn the cooking skills that most home cooks didn't even know about, and explore recipes that most didn't dare to even open a recipe book for. They were so hard, but the most rewarding recipes, the pinnacle of cooking. but I only tried the ones with video aid, where Thomas Keller himself walked me through step by step and was there to virtually hold my hand and answer every question I had. Through his masterclass, I became Masterclass Student of the Month, where I got to send him a special video saying how much I loved his style of teaching and his huge impact on my cooking. And then shortly after, I became one of the few Masterclass honor students. I was even in a Masterclass commercial and was in a company wide email as a member spotlight. And I had a video of me watching Thomas Keller's Masterclass featured on CBS News. With Masterclass's encouragement that I could absolutely do it with all they've seen, I started training to audition for MasterChef. I started cooking off the wall things like cow tongue and heart, liver, chicken hearts, and even Rocky Mountain oysters so nothing would catch me unprepared. I practiced knife cuts with the goal of auditioning once my kids were old enough. I wanted to know everything. Shortly after, we moved out of state, and I fell in love with a house that had my big dream kitchen. After seeing so many houses I detested the tiny kitchens in, and it just didn't feel right at all, I could instantly see that all my cooking goals could come possible in this one. The moment I looked at it, it seemed to call out to me, saying, "This is a place you've been waiting for." My husband later said that he knew we were buying the house the moment I saw that kitchen. The look on my face told him everything. Once moved in, I quickly opened a custom in home bakery where we sold in local butcher shops, and I did custom orders for all the surrounding towns. I loved baking as an art form. My favorites were hand painting art on pies with food dye and making gelatin art cakes. Opening a business that needed my food advertised, I soon learned more than just cooking and baking. Now I had to learn about photography, lighting, plating, background, angles, everything to make the food that I worked so hard on look good in photos too. The bakery did so well that I completely burned out within 2 years and I couldn't stand the sight of cake. It's been a few years now, and I still feel a small hatred and annoyance when I know I need to make a cake. Even for my birthday, I always request an ice cream cake instead because even my taste buds got burned out. But this has given me more time to return to my original food love, cooking with finesse. After a few extremely busy years when my dinners have become a little bit lazy, I'm reclaiming my love of real cooking. This year, I'll be tackling recipes from my collection of Thomas Keller cookbooks. Just a written word on page with the knowledge that he's given me in his classes to get through recipes that many professional chefs balk at. I'll also be covering his 3 master classes again because I never touch a lot of his recipes there, and some of my family's favorite meals from years ago are on those classes as well. As I go through this challenge of Thomas Keller recipes, I'll be both making videos and writing a full blog for each recipe. That blog will be more details on tips for how I personally did it, including any substitutions I made or recommend for home cooks, especially those landlocked in the Midwest like myself, and personal thoughts and ratings for difficulty, taste, practical application for home cooks, and if it's a recipe great for a weekday meal or one that's reserved for a holiday. I'll have a link to each post in every video. After seeing many professional chefs in my cooking group balk at the idea of even attempting a Thomas Keller recipe, my goal with this channel is to bridge between the home cook and the chef, making Thomas Keller recipes feel more approachable and doable for everyone. I'll be listing where to find each recipe and my personal thoughts, struggles, accomplishments in each video. For this year, I'll be using the cookbooks Bouchon Bakery, Ad Hoc, Per Se, and also his masterclasses. French Laundry, my favorites, but the hardest of recipes in both skill and ingredients will be worked on later in the series as well. Follow along as I upload weekly on Wednesdays.